So today we are very honored to invite our UK ambassador, which is Handy Drinkwater. Handy is a Chester-based SEO consultant who has been practicing SEO for more than 18 years. He has helped a lot of companies with their online marketing and growth efforts. He's also deeply involved in the SEO sphere, and he loves to share his results and findings. So today we are really happy to invite him on the blog to talk about his projects and how he's evolving in the SEO community. So Handy, first question to start. Can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit more about your specialties and how you started in the SEO world, please.
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Andy Drinkwater. I am an SEO consultant. I work for myself basically through the company IQ SEO. Now this is something that's been following me around for many years now. I first got my taste of SEO back in 1999, and I sort of fell into the marketplace purely by chance. I was working with a new startup. And back then there was this little known company called Google, who was sort of fairly new onto the scene, didn't have the market that they have now, and people could sort of see where they were going though. And we sort of thought, right, to go, well, we're not going to back Yahoo as lots of other people were doing at the time. We're going to go with what we think is right for Google, because people were sort of seeing that this was beneficial for them. And I was put in charge of making sure that the website was set up, that it was going to be right, so that we could actually get found in there. And back then, SEO, as you'll know, was very, very different to what it was today. So it was more about learning how quickly you can spam a website, how many times you can get a keyword onto a page, and numerous other dirty tricks that people use. And over the years, gradually, that sort of evolved into where I am now. Prior to 99, I started in 97 as a UX consultant, working for a number of large UK banks and building societies. And even further back from there, back to about 93, I started my sort of online career. I say I was just starting to get used to sort of things that were coming in the future, and it was more about sort of networking at that point. And I started copywriting and getting used to sort of what people were actually needing. So even from a very early sort of stage, I was trying to sort of to get people comfortable with using various tools. And back then it was I was writing Windows help files, and that was a long time ago. So that's where I sort of started off to where we are now. I say, and it evolves every day, and there's never 2 days are the same, which is why I love it.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Andy.
That's all right.
So you've been working for different industries so far. What has been your biggest SEO challenges this year?
So there's been a few that I've sort of had this year. One of the biggest is trying to explain and trying to get my clients ready for mobile first. That's going to be very, very big very soon, and obviously Google are already testing sites within this as well, although it's very controlled at the moment. So there's an awful lot of getting sites ready, making sure that if they've got a mobile site, making sure that it's where it needs to be, making sure if there's a responsive site that it is responsive correctly, and making sure ultimately it's very quick. So mobile first has been one of the biggest as well. The other thing I've been working a lot on as well is, as you'll probably know, I do quite a lot of SEO auditing for many different size companies, from the humble one-man band right up to your multinationals, and everywhere in between as well. And one of the aspects that's very important to Google at the moment is usability. Yeah. So if somebody's happy on your site, then they're going to stay on your site. They're going to stay on your site. They're going to work their way around the different pages on there. And working UX into an audit has been a bit of a challenge for me as well. So what I've done is I've implemented the likes of Hotjar and InspectMate. So what I tend to do now is I will look at a website with somebody else's eyes. So if I can see somebody's sort of working their way down a page, they sort of, if maybe they stop partway through and they're looking at some text, then I know that that text is something that's of interest. And if you watch a mouse moving around at that point, then you know there's something there that they expect. So the longer that you can sort of watch these live video recordings, the more of an understanding you get of how people are working on websites. That all corresponds to how Google also ranks websites as well. And I've done an awful lot of testing on this myself as well. And you've probably seen on Twitter, I mean, I share an awful lot of findings on Twitter. And I get some very, very good traffic increases by, and I'll come on to this again a little bit later as well, like I said, the internal linking side of things, but also by making sure that people stay on the website for a longer period of time. So those are sort of where the biggest challenges have sort of been. It's like trying to sort of get the mindset over a little bit to mobile, because of the way that's actually going, and introducing more about trying to get people happy on a page itself. If they're not happy, they're not going to stay. They're going to go somewhere else. Google's going to knock you down for it.
Yeah, offer them the best user experience possible. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So you were talking about the mobile first index. I guess you've seen some websites shifting to this new index.
Yes.
How do you get prepared for this? Any recommendations?
So how do you get prepared for it? How do you get prepared for it? I think ultimately you've got to be testing the website itself. You need to be making sure that the website is. And I'll keep going back to responsive, because more often than not, your average size sites they're powered by WordPress a lot these days. You don't necessarily sort of see as many of the larger sites, the big e-commerce sites. They're not going to be powered by WordPress or anything like that. It's all going to be something very, very specific to them. But if you look at something like, let's take sort of eBay. If you look at some of the problems that eBay faces with mobile use, it's clear that that's not something that's high up there. You'll sort of go onto a listing, people have to still pinch and zoom. Even now, you have to pinch and zoom to actually see a description. So if you're having to do that, then you're going to sort of hit mobile first, and you're going to start experiencing problems. Speed is going to be an important aspect. Various other SEOs have been doing speed tests. I've not personally, but I do follow lots of other research that goes on as well. And speed is going to be very important as well. People sometimes say, well, how are you going to go about link building for mobile? Because Google's sort of turning it all in its head. Mobile is now going to be powering your desktop site. John Mueller actually said a little while ago that there's going to be aspects that are going to be pulled back from the desktop site to be used with mobile first as well. So they sort of about turn a little bit and say, right, okay, well, it's all going to be mobile powering desktop, and then it's well, bits of desktop are also going to be powering desktop as well. So in terms of sort of link building, certainly for the time being, it's business as usual. There's no sort of issues around that at all. So it's making sure the website is easy to use, making sure that people aren't scrolling too far, because nobody wants to get the phone in their hand and you're scrolling to get to where you need to be. And Google have also said that part of one of the areas that they're looking at is, at the moment, if you hide text on a mobile under an accordion or under a tab or something like that, then they can see it, they're just not going to give it the weight it deserves. For mobile first, that changes. So you can actually have a more usable page by allowing people to decide if they want to see more content, more information on something. So yes, it's making sure that your site is ready. Do the correct test. Do your due diligence. and make sure, for goodness sake, when it does happen, that you've got something in place.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Andy. So do you have any good resolutions for 2018?
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, oh yes, yeah. There's always good resolutions. Probably my top one is to try and get to more conferences. Try and make a little bit more time for myself to get to them. And I'm very ashamed to say that last year was my very first year at Brighton SEO. After all the years that I keep promising that I would go, and that's sort of where I met you guys for the first time face to face. And it was really nice, and it was very eye opening. So certainly more conferences, and more of the bigger conferences as well. Obviously, mobile first is one that we've already spoken about. That's something I've got to try and get all my clients ready for, sort of now and also in the future as well. And you may or may not be aware, but I do a lot of reputation management work, which is sort of burying negative press, which is a particular facet of SEO. Very interesting, and it's whilst it's the concept is still the same. You've got to sort of rank somebody so that they come higher up the page, but you're doing it in a much quicker time. It's still a long-term strategy, but it's a strategy that takes a little bit more thought. Because you've got to look at the content that you're trying to bury. So I do a lot of sort of testing around this as well. So I'm forever testing. I say I need to really find some more time to make some time for my own site. Yeah. That'd be nice. In fact, yeah, there you go. There's another resolution. Find some time for my own site as well.
That's a good one. You were talking about the conferences you want to attend. Have you planned to talk to some conference this year, or is it something you don't want to do? Or
I've sort of spoken a couple of times at. In fact, I've only spoken once at the one in Chester, which is one myself and a couple of other guys started up only tail end of last year. So I've done that. I actually have a conference I'm speaking at next week, which is Optimizy, and he seems to have sort of Andrew seems to have sort of really sort of built a good, interesting following of sort of business owners and agencies and sort of consultants the like, who all sort of come along to sort of see what's new, see who's talking. So I'm actually talking there next week. As for anything larger than that, I believe that's going to be about 100 or so people. The thought of standing up on the stage at Brighton SEO terrifies me. And I've never spoken to like a crowd that large before. I've spoken at sort of meetings and presentations and things in the past, 30, 40, 50, 60 people, that sort of thing. But never ever looked out onto a sea of people where there's many hundreds who are also sat out there sort of looking. So maybe it's something I'll do at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'd have to work myself up to that one a little bit first of all.
That's a good exercise. So you were talking about Chester SEO, the meetup you're organizing. You're deeply involved in the SEO community around Chester, but also on the Twitter sphere.
Yes.
Do you have any strategy regarding personal branding, or how do you?
Personal branding. I think as a consultant, your brand is you are your brand. I am my brand, but I have two sides to me. So I've got me as Andy Drinkwater, and I've also got IQ SEO. Now IQ SEO is probably more my brand than me as an individual. Although with a name like Drinkwater, I tend to get remembered very easily. So if you're not born with a name like this, then you've got to put a bit of work into it. If you've got a name that doesn't get as easily remembered. So I do two lots of work for branding. The first one is make sure you've got yourself into as many different areas as possible. Make sure you've got your personal websites in check. Make sure you've got your social profiles for yourself. If you're on Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, it doesn't matter what it is. Make sure you've got your social profile sorted out as well. on top of your social profiles, be social. And that's one of the things I think is very important for me. I like people to know they can come and talk to me. They can ask me questions. They can always find me on Twitter. I say right up until the wee hours in the morning usually. And there's always something that I like to share as well. So if somebody was starting out and they were saying, right, okay, how would I do this now? I'd say first and foremost, carve yourself a niche. Don't try and sort of make your brand you, and that is somebody who knows everything about everything. Because let's face it, it's SEO. It is an absolutely huge field. Nobody can know everything about everything. It's like, I mean, you've got people who are sort of like specialists within international SEO. Some who are very, very good at sorting international SEO issues out. You've got others who might be very proficient at doing technical SEO audits, that's one of the things that I do. I don't necessarily push myself as just like a keyword researcher, which is another side of things as well. I don't push myself as not as much these days as a link builder, because link building tends to be very time consuming these days. And whilst I still do it for a number of clients, I don't do as much of it. So I would say carve a niche. Don't be a jack of all trades. Don't try and say that I know everything about everything. Join in conversations with other people as well. Like I say, I mean, if there's any number of industry experts out there, any number of them, and some of these amazing people I follow as well, and get involved in a conversation. Do look at what they're discussing. If you've got something you can add to a discussion as well, show them that you've got something you can add as well. Be known for a particular area as well, but don't try and just throw in random facts that you've picked up from Google for no particular reason, because that'll do you no favors. So yeah, so I'd say sort of being as like a specialist in a particular area is very important. So especially for me as well. I mean, I do only focus really on the technical SEO side of things, and also on the online reputation management. Those are the two areas that I really sort of push these days as well. And the technical side of things, like I say, I mean, I'd be lost without sort of OnCrawl at the moment. I say some of the stuff that you guys are producing there is absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
So kudos for that. Very, very good.
Thanks a lot. Apart from SEO, what is Andy doing on his free time? I'm sure you have some.
Oh my goodness, free time. When I do get free time, I've actually just started at the moment with a personal trainer. So sort of twice a week I'm down at the gym while the personal trainer slowly kills me, and then I'm usually after that sat in the jacuzzi. That's the gym as well. So and then I go for a swim, then you go for a steam, then you go for a sauna, and then that's the end of the evening at that point. Outside of that as well, I love cars. I'm still a petrol head at heart, and I love classic cars. So I'm always changing cars. I'm always buying new cars and then changing them back again. So that's for me another sort of like, let's do something a bit different. Go out for the weekend and sort of go for a nice drive up to, I don't know, around Wales, which is only around the corner anyway. So so nice to do. But then I come back and then I don't know. I generally just hop back onto social media again and sort of see what's been happening whilst I've been away. Yeah. So yeah, you'd be surprised what can happen in a few hours. And so, I don't want to miss any of it. Fear of missing out.
100 of messages.
Yes.
So last question, last but not the least.
Yeah.
I would like to know how it feels to be one of our ambassadors, and what's your most favorite OnCrawl feature?
Well, first, when I was first sort of asked by yourselves to do this, it was both exciting and humbling at the same time, because obviously, like I said, we've spoken many times on email, even before this as well, and sort of had an OnCrawl account with yourselves for I don't know, probably a couple of years now, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's always been one of the like the go-to tools for me. In terms of being an ambassador, what else does it mean? It means I can also, with a degree of excitement as well, as I say, show some of the features, because I get sort of to see firsthand, even beforehand as well. I get to know what's coming down the line as well. And then when some of these features turn up, it's absolutely amazing. And in terms of the features, the one that got me the most excited recently was the links flow.
Yeah.
Now then, because I love, and it's an ongoing joke online these days for me with internal links, because I do so much with them, to actually have a tool that shows me that here's your internal link structure as a visualization is a huge benefit. Because if I'm sort of creating a hierarchy for a site from a technical standpoint, I want something that's easy to navigate. I want like a good home page, and then I want a nice structure to build these hub pages on. To be able to sort of see and crawl a site within a few hours, to actually be able to see that and say, right, okay, well, this is the structure we've currently got, or this is the structure you've currently got. This is why you've got issues, because, like I say, everything is pointing to, I don't know, a random page somewhere back there that's not one of your key. Yeah, that's not one of your key pages. So links flow. When I first saw that, it was like, wow, that's been something I've really been waiting for. So yeah, that's my sort of favorite tool at the moment, favorite part of the tool at the moment. I live in that.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, oh yes, absolutely.
So thank you indeed. Was the last question. So thanks for your answer. It was very insightful.
No, you're very welcome.
It was a pleasure to have you on board, and I really hope to talk to you soon. So see you
Most
next
definitely.
time, Andy.
All right. Thanks, Emma.